Welcome back, everybody. In today's video we are going to try to take out the A-arms of the front suspension. The thing that I want to do with this chore is to renew the bushings and renew the bearings of the wheel. Also I want to renew the ball joints, because I think the upper ball joints, as you can see, is worn out, and that's quite dangerous. If you let it happen and you don't renew the ball joints, what can happen? The wheel can tear itself off. It happened to several people with these cars, so check it on a regular basis, because as I said, it can get quite messy and it's dangerous. The way you know that something is happening with the suspensions, with the ball joints, is a slight knocking sound while you're driving, while you're turning the vehicle, or during the braking. So watch out for that. If you don't work on your car alone, once a year or several years, have the workshop check it out. So this will be a step-by-step guide. So when you are taking the A-arms off and the suspension off, the first thing that I have done is I have taken out the shock absorbers. It's very easy. All you do is you loosen the screws down and at the upside of the shock absorber, and then you take it out. What helps is to have a space under the A-arm, under the suspension, because when you are taking the shock absorber out, it doesn't compress all the way, so you could take it out easily. So either you lift the car up and then take it out, or you have enough space, as I do, under the car. What I also do is when I'm taking the shock absorber out, I compress it in the spring as much as possible, and then it's easier. So that's very easy. The second step you need to do is to loosen the anti-roll bar, so it's not connected to the A-arms, and that's the second step. In the next step, what I'm going to do is I will loosen the connecting tie rods of the suspension, which are connecting the wheels to the steering. So that's next step, and I'll do it in the next video, in the next section. So yeah, welcome back, and I hope this step-by-step guide will be useful for you. And if you need to do the renewal of the suspension, it will motivate you to do it, because it's my first time and I don't think it's such a hard job that you cannot do it. It's quite a chore, but if you do it correctly and you do it safely, then I think yeah, it's doable. So now we are at the next step. I took off the wheel and I supported the car with 3 safety measures. So remember, guys, it's paramount that you work safely, because this is quite a dangerous job and you don't want the car to fall on your head. Actually, that happens quite a lot. So I have the jack under the jack stand of the car. I put some old wheels under the car with some logs, and I also have a jack stand, a blue one there, as you can see. So I have double security of the so that the car doesn't fall on my head. So the next step that what we want to do is to take out the tie rods. You just take out the bolt, and I'll try to tap it out with a hammer. There is actually a tool for it. It looks like a fork that you put here and take it out. When I look at my tie rods, they seemed quite tired, so I guess I'll buy some new ones. I think they are quite cheap, because it's the same stuff that is used on a Lada, so I think I'll buy some new ones. It's a few bucks, and it's much better to renew stuff when it's so cheap than to just put it on back. So yeah, that's the next step, and yeah, stay safe. That's all I wanted to say in this part. So we are back again, guys, and today I'm going to try to get the A-arms out of the vehicle. I had a problem last time, I couldn't get the tie rods for the steering out, so I decided I'll just cut them. I don't care, I'll buy new ones. So that's what I'm going to do today. And also I'm renewing the covers for Carello headlights that I managed to find in Italy, and I will be putting these headlights, which are quite gorgeous, on the vehicle after I finish renewing the suspension. So yeah, wish me luck, and we are continuing with the job. So now, guys, we are going to try to cut off the tie rods right here. The joints of the tie rods, you can buy them for quite a few bucks, so I really don't worry about cutting them. Once we have the tie rods cut, then it's quite easy. I think it will be quite easy to compress the spring and then just undo the A-arms, the bolt here, and take the whole suspension out. So wish me luck, that's how the workshop manual tells me to do it. And then once I have the suspension on the bench, I can dismantle the rest, put some new bearings in, and the joints and the other stuff we want to do. But right now I have to cut this stuff. Always wear safety glasses when using some cutters, because safety first. Almost there. One part ready. Alrighty then. So the next step, I need to hang the caliper. And here, you really don't want to stretch the brake caliper hose, which is already in very neat condition. I think I'll be renewing this also. You can see there are some nasty stretch marks. It's not something you want. I already have some experience with cut through brake lines, the rubber part, these ones on the back. And what happened once is that I lost all the brakes because the fluid just spilled out. So be very careful about these parts, because that's the most important part on your car, the brakes. If they don't work, then you're screwed. So yeah. So finally, guys, I managed to take the coil out. I have to confess, this is quite a scary job, since the spring can in any time jump back to its full extension. So when you are taking the upper A-arm out, I was afraid that it could jump this way and hurt me. So yeah, be on the safe side, compress the springs as much as possible with some kind of spring compressor tool. I have these basic ones. I would recommend buying more professional ones. I'll put a link down in the description. It's quite hard to do this job with these ones. And yeah, the first step was to take out the long bolt of the upper A-arm, which is located up here, where the upper A-arm is connected to the chassis. And now I will take out the lower A-arm. Be aware that behind the lower A-arms are shims which adjust the camber and the caster of the suspension, so don't mess them up, don't switch them. These shims back here, when you're putting the suspension back on the car, since you would change the camber and the caster of the suspension and the car wouldn't drive good enough. But in all honesty, after I'll renew the suspension, put new bushings in and so on, I'll go to a workshop to have the suspension checked and aligned the wheels. So I'll do that and they'll adjust the camber and the caster so that the car sits perfectly and drives nicely. So yeah, I really didn't enjoy this job. It took me several hours until I figured out how to compress the spring. You have to jack the car quite high so that when you're lowering the lower A-arm you have enough space. Yeah, I'll put a link in the description to a video from Csaba from Autoricambi, how he does it. Perhaps it will help you more. But yeah, next step, taking it all out and checking the status of the arms, if I'll reuse them or buy new ones. And then do the second side. So, welcome back everybody. I'm back in the garage and today I want to move forward with the suspension renewal and the steering linkage renewal. Unfortunately I had some setbacks. Last time when I tried to take out the steering linkage and the idler arm, I couldn't get it out since the ball joints of the tie rods didn't pop out. I tried everything, I tried to hammer them out, which isn't the best way. I tried to use a basic key just to put it between the ball joint and the tie rod to pop it out. That didn't work also, so I decided to buy a specialized tool which pops out the ball joints, and we'll see how that goes. So that was a major pickle last time. I hurt myself also, so I just stopped the work there, and today I will continue. I want to change the idler arm and the ball joints on the steering linkage because I think I have a little bit heavy steering. I'll see if it will help, I don't know. And yeah, I also decided to buy a new lower A-arm. I bought a Lada part since it's basically the same stuff as you can see. I decided to buy a new one because the original one is bent. I think it was bent when the previous owner put it on, but this should work fine since it's the same part. The only major difference is that the original part has a bracket already installed for the help me out, for the shock absorbers. So when you're buying a Lada part, you need to buy separately a bracket which goes down under and holds the shock absorbers in its place, but basically it's the same stuff. So I'll clean all the parts out. I will spray the coils so they look nicely. The first layer was epoxy primer, and now I'll just use the basic colored varnish 2-in-1 paint, black one, just to make the colors look nice and to withstand the elements and don't rust away anymore. And yeah, I'll wash also the undersides of the wheel arches. I already started to paint with the primer one side, I'll do the second side, and hopefully I'll progress some more because time is of an issue. Within like 3 weeks I'm going on a rally with this car, so I want to have it prepared, and that's about it. As usual, as it is usual, you face setbacks even if you think that you won't, but it's good to step back when things get tough in the garage and just think it through and then get back again with a fresh attitude, and things will work out always in the end. So don't lose your hope when you're doing such stuff and you're, as me, doing it for the first time, because it's a learning curve. You'll learn and figure the stuff out. Yeah. So I'll start with the spraying. So finally I managed to pull out the original idler arm. It was a pain in the ass because I had to adjust this tool. I had to sandpaper off this part so that it would fit under the ball joints of the steering linkage, but in the end it worked, so I'm quite happy. And yeah, so now I'll put the new one in. I'll have to take down this rod from the original idler arm. I think it was pressed in. Perhaps this tool could help me actually when I think of it. So yeah, you can do it with this tool. You can pull out the ball joints, or you can use the large forks ball joint puller, or how to call the tool. It's also available. This $10 tool worked for me fine, so I'll be okay with it. Just little adjustments to it and it works nicely. So a little hiccup again. My original idler arm is a splined version. There are splines here and the new one isn't, so I guess I'll have to buy a new rod, or I'll just buy the whole assembly with the rod, which is also sold. I'll see. Yeah, but I wondered why there are sold on eShops two versions of these arms, of these bearings, and one is splined and the other is non-splined. I don't know the difference, if it will have a effect on the result and how it works, but yeah. So just check that out before buying one, because now I'll have to figure out what one to buy. So now what I have done is I've taken out the old bearings from the wheel hub. The way you do it is you take a hammer and a screwdriver and you just tap it out from the other side. I preheated the hub itself with a small propane burner, and yeah, just slowly tap it out. Take your time so you don't damage too much the hub itself, but it's durable, it should be fine. So now I'll clean it. I'll re-grease it with my beautiful SKF bearing lube and grease, and yeah, then try to put it all back together with the knuckle. And I already have put in the ball joints on the upper arm from the right side of the car. What I have to figure out is if you press the bushings all the way in before you put it in the car or after, I don't know that. In the workshop manual it states that only thing you do is you put it in a vise and just press it in. That's not very informative, but yeah, I'll figure it out. So yeah. So guys, I preheated the larger wheel bearing and I put it on the steering knuckle. And before that, as I said, I put on the dust shield and the brake caliper bracket, I think that's the name. Also managed to see that the screws, the bolts, are of different size. Right now I'm doing the passenger side wheel suspension. I'll put a picture right now while I'm talking so you can see how it looks from the other side. So don't mix up these bolts. Don't mix up the pattern of how you are putting back the things, because as I said, you'll have to put it out again, the whole hub, and you don't want to do that. You don't want to put out the bearings out again and damage them and so on. So this is the right alignment of the dust shield and bolts on the right side, two larger ones and one smaller. And from the other side you'll put the small brackets that hold the steering knuckle, this part, as you can see on the picture. So yeah, I preheated the bearing and it just slid in, which is great. And before that I also put on the oil shield, which will go here. And I don't think there is another way how to do it, but if you know how to do it in a different way, please comment. I'll be glad to learn something new. And yeah, let's crack on. So now I'm packing the hub with grease, and I'll be packing also the inner bearing with grease. What I've seen guys, professional mechanics do is to grease this ring, put it in the middle part. You don't have to over grease it. I think this will do nicely. Yeah, I bought a quality stuff SKF grease from the manufacturer of the quality bearings, so I guess it can work. It's a lithium based grease. Yeah, and this is the nicer part of working on the car. Putting new oil in or new grease and knowing that it will work nicely and that you'll enjoy the car more. So we are back, guys, and slowly I'm starting to reassemble the suspension back on the car. Right now I'm putting new bearings into the wheel hub. Remember one thing, that the bearings are pointing outwards on both sides, so check the diagram. As you can see, they are pointing both outside, so don't put them back in the wrong direction, or you'll have to take them out again and perhaps damage them. So take it slow and always double check the manual and the videos that you see from other guys, not just me, how they do it. So the way how I put the new bearing, the outer ring, back into the hub was I took a 41 nut, which is a little bit smaller than the diameter of the big bearing on the other side. On this side where the small bearing is, I took the old outer bearing from the old bearing, the outer ring, and I preheated the hub and slowly tapped it in. And other side, the same thing with the nut, the 41mm nut hub, which is smaller than the outer ring, but large enough to tap it in. So now I'll grease it. I will put the inner bearings on the hub. I think the first one goes the inner side, so that you can put it in. And also don't forget this snap ring, which goes beyond the outer ring of the bigger bearing. Some early models don't have it, but vast majority I guess do, so don't forget this part. And also think twice how you'll reassemble it. I think you have to reassemble the hub and the knuckle with the dust shield, because I don't think this dust shield is possible to take out without taking the knuckle and the hub separate from each other and out again. So if you're putting the knuckle and the hub together, remember to put the dust shield where it belongs when you have been disassembling it, so in the right direction with the right pattern of the small and large bolts, because if you won't, then I think you'll have to take out the hub again. That's at least what I think. So read twice the manual and I'll let you know in the next video. So everything's ready. New ball joints, new bushings. They are Russian made polyurethane. They're not super pro. Everybody recommends super pro, but I mean, a set of super pro bushings is around, I think, 150-200 euros. So they are on the expensive side. I will see how these will work. I greased them. I greased every single part of the bushings that is possible, so that there are no squeaks, and lower arm and upper arm work on the suspension nicely. I put on new ball joints. As I said before, these are Lada lower ball joints, because this is a Lada lower control arm. So you need to buy Lada ball joints, but I think they are okay to fit the steering knuckle, so it should be okay. So the next step, what I'm going to do, I'm going to reassemble the whole suspension, and I'm going to put it back on the car. And the way to go is the same way you dismantle it, or we dismantle it in this video, to tighten and connect the lower arm to the cross member, put the jack stand under it, compress the springs, and then jack it up. And then I think you should connect the upper control arm while the jack is jacked. And yeah, once you tighten the bars that connect the control arms to the cross member and the upper control arm pin, then I think you can undo the compression tool on the springs, and that's about it. But let's see how it goes, because everything on this car is a pain in the ass, but once you learn how to do it, it's quite okay. So the suspension, the arms are on the car. Unfortunately, I have a problem with difficulty with getting the springs compressed. If you are doing this, then I highly recommend buying the spring compressors or creating them, which go from the inside and compress the spring from the inside. The reason being that when you use these cheapos, these basic ones, they interfere with the control arms, and it's hard to place them, and to be brutally honest, it's also very hard to use them and to compress the spring enough. So yeah, if you're going to buy some and you're doing this, then buy the professional stuff that goes inside the spring, and that will help you a lot. Also remember to jack the car high enough so you can put the lower control arm quite low. That will help you getting the spring out and in. So yeah, wish me luck. So we are back, guys. Finally I managed to put the suspension back. The worst part is to compress the spring enough so that you can put it between the upper and lower cross member, or A-arm or control arm or whatever is the right name. The way I managed it with a friend, we used these tightening ropes and it worked quite well. But if you can buy a good spring compressor that can come inside the springs and compress them from the inside, that will help you a lot and you'll spare a lot of time. And what now I'm doing is I'm pushing the lower A-arm with a jack so that I can bolt the upper arm back to the chassis, and after that I'll do the other side and I'll put back the brakes, which is easy. And now I'm also waiting for new tie rods, which I bought new. I hope they will fit, but they should. And yeah, then just align the wheels. I will put new brake hoses also on because these are cracked. That's very dangerous. Always check out for your brake hoses and that you don't leak the brake fluid anywhere, because that's extremely dangerous. It happened to me and you really don't want to lose your brakes. Yeah, then just put back the anti-roll bar, connect it to the lower arm, and I should be good to go. But you never know what kind of obstacle will come in your way when you're putting the stuff back together. So yeah, just wanted to update you and let's get it cracking. Here we go, guys, back on wheels. Yeah.